when we talk about the Sany, it's a complete different technology, developed in China. It's not a copy of anybody else's system. It's not a copy of a Putzmeister system. It's its own technology developed by the Sany engineers with its own strengths and unique features. So everything that we've talked to the market about Putzmeister and the advantages of Putzmeister from the standpoint of its hydraulic system and the versatility and the flexibility, from the standpoint of how the machine can be figured for custom applications, we still have that capability with the Putzmeister product. What the Sany product offers us is an economical alternative option for the market. So when we look at this Sany machine, the first thing that we would call your attention to is its unique control system. So it's a very intuitive control system, very easy to navigate. The main control screen shows all the parameters regarding, pump output, pressures, things like this. We also have a feature that shows the inclination of the machine. So Sany has a lot of built-in safety features like automatic leveling. So with this inclination, the operator can see that the machine is in level, and if the machine would start to settle and go out of level, a horn would sound. The other thing that we can take a look at is we scroll through the screen. First step, I can go over and take a look at different inputs and outputs and very easily see with written descriptions and numbers that would identify what the function of the machine itself is. You can see the number that indicates the function from a wiring standpoint. So when you would look at an electrical diagram and try to troubleshoot a circuit, you see what that function is on the schematic. The other thing that you would have with that is as you look at the harnesses itself, each wire has that number imprinted on it every 2 inches over the entire length of the machine. So from a standpoint of identifying, yeah, this is the wire that does this function, it's very easy to see that. So on the input and the output side, we can scroll through this, and here we see a blue dot that's illuminated. That's doing a continuity check for you right away. So it's saying the controller is receiving a signal for this. So we know we've got the input coming into the controller. It gives you that feedback. Now if I go over to the output screen, I can see coming out of the controller that it's illuminated those functions. So I know that I have continuity of the signals coming in and the signals going out. So if there would be an actual problem with the function of the machine, it's very easy then to identify where to look downstream of the machine to find out where that failure may be. Some other interesting aspects from a language standpoint, so it doesn't rely on symbols or icons. Everything is in languages. There are 8 languages that you can toggle through. So we've got Spanish, English, French, Russia, Turkish, a lot of the primary languages. So it's very easy to flip it over to whatever language the market or the operator would be familiar with. Another interesting function, the machine, as I said, it has for the automatic leveling of the machine. It also has an automated OSS or short rigging. So when the space is tight, customers like to deploy the outriggers on one side of the machine and short rig it on the other. This machine automatically knows if the legs aren't completely extended on the one side, it knows that it is short rigged, and then it would automatically limit the rotation of the boom. The minute you fully deploy the legs, then it's going to give you the full range of rotation. Another thing that's interesting about this machine compared to other products is when you come out of the boom rest, you have 360 degrees of rotation in one direction. Go back around to 0, you have 360 degrees in the other. So you have actually from stop to stop 720 degrees of rotation of the boom. So it allows you to have a lot of flexibility with how you can move the boom itself around. So we mentioned there are sensors for leveling, there are sensors for the short rigging, there are sensors for what your boom angle is. But Sany has a feature where it's called forced pumping. So if you would have a temperature sensor that would go out and it's telling you the machine's overheating or it's not getting a signal, but the machine's okay, you can go into force pumping and acknowledge that, and you can bypass the sensors and then take control of the machine, manually. So that extra level of redundancy. The other thing that is interesting to the Sany market is they do a lot of high pressure pumping. Not only through the back end, but they actually allow to pump higher pressures through the boom due to the higher ratings of the delivery line. So while we limit pumping through the boom to 1210 psi, 85 bar, they would actually go higher. But because they do a lot of this high pressure pumping, the entire concrete pump is set up standard to have a duty cycle of running up to 1750 psi. So if we look at the construction of the hopper itself, we see the heavy duty reinforcing bands around the hopper, the plates on the back and on the front. From the agitator motor, a very heavy duty design. The shift cylinders on the back of for the S-tube, those are 100 millimeter diameter shift cylinders. So again, a very heavy duty construction. So to make it easier for them to go into a high pressure pumping mode, Sany has an automated feature where at the control panel you can acknowledge that you want to go into high pressure pumping, acknowledge that, and the machine automatically reconfigures itself hydraulically to go from 85 bar to 120 bar. And then what we can do in our market is the swing elbow on the back will swing completely wide and there's a straight outlet so that the pump owner could connect system to the back of the hopper and do high pressure line pumping from the machine, and that would be a standard feature for the machine. So if we look at how this is put together, Putzmeister is a closed loop system, and with closed loop, that allows us not to have any valves in the hydraulic system. The advantages of that are, very fast responsive, also very energy efficient. We're not losing, getting pressure drop through the valve system. So Sany is an open loop system. The way they've overcome this is they partnered with Kawasaki Hydraulic Division, and what you see for the main hydraulic valve for the main pumping system, and then on the rear we've got another valve system that takes care of agitator functions and S-tube functions. They partnered with Kawasaki to put together a very nice system where they brought the pressure drops into the system down by 25%, and given the volumes that this is produced in, to be able to produce this very economically. So within this manifold here, this is what gives us the ability to be able to cycle between a normal low pressure pumping or to flip a switch on the control panel and reconfigure the machine automatically for high pressure. Another side benefit of this is we look at the solenoids that activate both the low pressure and the high pressure, as well as the functions on the S-tube. Those are common solenoids. So because we have two different circuits built into one machine, and you only really need one or the other, so if you would have a situation where you would have a coil burnout, you've got built-in spares. You've got places where you could just very quickly take one off, move it to the position where you had a failed solenoid, and continue to pump. And another interesting and unique feature to Sany that I would point out is a function for the service set where they have automatic piston cup withdrawal. So within the delivery cylinders, we've got the piston cups that push the concrete. When it comes time to want to inspect those or to change them, there's an extra section on the main drive cylinders where with the flip of a switch from this service panel on the back, hydraulically both piston cups pull up into the water box automatically so that you can visually inspect them or change them. So I guess that would say those are the main features of the machine. Other things that we would point out from the standpoint of the components that are used, a lot of components that we're familiar with, from our own product. The main hydraulic pumps are Rexroth tandem hydraulic pumps. We have Have control valves, Continental hoses, and other well-known components. So, in closing, I would say, what we're bringing to the market in the Sany is a very well-built, basic machine to give the market another option.